Little Shepherd of Kingdom Come by John Fox Jr., Chapter 3, Part 3. At the first pause in the dance, old Joel called loudly for Chad. The boy tried to slip out of the door, but Dolph seized him and pulled him to a chair in the corner and put the banjo in his hands. Everybody looked on with curiosity at first, and for a little while Chad suffered. But when the dance turned attention from him, he forgot himself again and made the old thing hum, with all the rousing tunes that had ever swept its strings. When he stopped at last to wipe the perspiration from his face, he noticed for the first time the schoolmaster, who was yet divided between the church and the law, standing at the door, silent, grave, and disapproving. And he was not alone in his condemnation. In many a cabin up and down the river, stern talk was going on against the ungodly carryings-on under the Turner roof, and far from accepting them as proofs of a better birth and a broader social idea, these Calvinists of the hills set the merrymakers down as the special prey of the devil, and the dance and the banjo as sly plots of the same to draw their souls to hell. Chad felt the master's look, and he did not begin playing again, but put the banjo down by his chair, and the dance came to an end. Once more Chad saw the master look, this time at Cynthia, who was leaning against the wall with a sturdy youth in a fringed hunting shirt bending over her, his elbow against a log directly over her shoulder. Cynthia saw the look too, and she answered with a little toss of her head, but when Caleb Hazel turned to go out the door, Chad saw that the girl's eyes followed him. A little later, Chad went out too and found the master at the corner of the fence and looking at a low red star whose rich, peaceful light came through a gap in the hills. Chad shyly drew near him, hoping in some way to get a kindly word, but the master was so absorbed that he didn't see or hear the boy, and Chad, awed by the stern, solemn face, withdrew, and without a word to anybody, climbed into the loft and went to bed. He could hear every stroke on the floor below, every call of the prompter, and the rude laughter and banter, but he gave little heed to it all, for he lay thinking of Caleb Hazel and listening again to the stories he and the cattle dealer had told him about the wonderful settlements. God's country, the dealer always called it, and such it must be if what he and the master said was true. By and by, the steady beat of feet under him, the swift notes of the banjo, the calls of the prompter, and the laughter fused, became inarticulate, distant, and ceased. And Chad, as he was wont to do, journeyed on to God's country in his dreams. End of chapter 3.